Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we take you to Clark County where this weekend's strong winds blew chaos through the region. And those same winds wreaked havoc in Madison County where EKU employees are also picking up the pieces after Saturday's storm. Plus in Louisville, multiple people were hospitalized after a tree fell on their home Saturday, trapping them inside.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 4:59 on January 13th. I'm Madison Pergram, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning on this Monday morning. If you're getting up, grabbing your coffee, there is a little fog out there. Let's go to Brandon Robinson. Brandon, I was shocked when I started driving. We haven't had this much fog here in Hazard in a while.
Yes, ma'am, we have not, but it's a sign of changing times over the next little bit. After a very active weekend weather-wise, things are fairly quiet this morning, at least precipitation-wise. Let's take a look at the satellite and radar loop. Clouds back and forth this morning, so you may see some early sunshine, but they'll start to thicken up later in the day. Sensors not showing that Madison is right, though. Lots of fog out the region, or outside in the region this morning, so be careful of that. Most of it is valley fog, so just be aware of that. Look at that. Outside WIMT, fogged in this morning. It was almost zero visibility on my drive in earlier. Temperatures across the board, 39 here in Hazard, 32 in Somerset, so big range this morning, 45 Jackson, 41 in Harlan. So we split the difference there on the out the door forecast, which you'll see in just a little bit, but of course you got to have a little extra coffee this morning. The fog is not only in your head, it's outside too. You see temperatures start off right around 40, kind of splitting the difference there as I mentioned, and we'll get up to right around 60 today, so cooler than this weekend, but still unseasonably warm for this time of the year. We'll talk about the extended forecast coming up here in a little bit. Madison?
Thank you, Brandon. Well, we first told you yesterday that a man was killed in a logging accident in Letcher County. Officials from Kentucky State Police say 22-year-old David Thomas was killed Saturday morning. Thomas was from Knott County, and police say a fallen tree was stuck in another tree when it fell to the ground, killing Thomas. There were no reports of other injuries, and the incident remains under investigation by Kentucky State Police. In the Leslie County community, welcome home Deputy Shane Wilson yesterday with the police escort. Wilson was shot in the hand on Saturday in the Asher community after pulling over a truck. Wilson is just 21 years old and has been with the Sheriff Department for about 2 months. Friends and family tell us that Wilson had surgery yesterday and is doing well, but he will need months of therapy. And people in Clark County are dealing with serious damage after straight-line winds blew through the southern part of the county. Debbie Bowman says she saw debris flying sideways during the storm. And once it was over, she could not believe what she saw when she looked outside.
Everything settled down, and I was still standing at the back window. I went, "The barn's gone." And my husband said, "What? No way." And I said, "We've lost the barn." And he came over there and looked, and he said, "Yeah, it's gone."
Bowen says she spoke to a neighbor less than a mile away after the storm calmed down, and that person says she did not see any of the severe weather or get any damage. And EKU employees are also picking up the pieces after Saturday's storm. The school's historic Whitehall had significant roof damage and several trees uprooted. Shelby Smithson shows us why school officials say it could have been much worse.
Though winds in the bluegrass have quieted, the sounds of power tools and heavy machinery are taking its place as people are working to clean up the mess left behind.
There is a hole in the roof, yes.
While Eastern Kentucky University officials are clearing debris and fallen trees around campus, their biggest concern is Whitehall, where entire trees were uprooted and large portions of the roof ripped off.
Now the damage here looks pretty bad, but school officials tell me it could have been much worse thanks to an EKU contracted employee that lives on property in this building. He heard it as soon as the damage happened and was able to call for backup.
We did have a very quick response from EKU personnel to ensure that any antiquities that are located within the structure were very quickly moved to safe places within the building to ensure that very little to no historical artifacts were damaged.
While officials are still assessing how much repairs to the outside and inside of the building will cost, they're just grateful no one was hurt in the process.
We can always respond to structural damage, and we'll do our level best to get it up and running as quickly as possible.
In Richmond, Shelby Smithson, WKYT.
Now, school officials say this actually happened during an off-season, and events at Whitehall typically don't start up until March or April. They say they have time to make repairs. And 2 people have been hospitalized after a tree fell on their home in East Louisville Saturday night. Fire crews arrived at the house and found 2 people trapped inside. Firefighters rescued the people from their house, and they were transported by ambulance to the hospital. The extent of their injuries is unknown at this time, and according to a neighbor, a married couple lives at the home. And the U.S. National Weather Service confirmed yesterday that a tornado touched down north of New Tazewell in Claiborne County, Tennessee. The tornado was described as an intermediate EF0 max with winds of 65 miles per hour. No damages or injuries have been reported at this time, and the National Weather Service and county officials are working together on assessments. And here is footage of the aftermath of another tornado that touched down in Ohio. High winds and 2 weak tornadoes have caused heavy damage in Miami County. The National Weather Service announced on Sunday that EF0 tornadoes touched down in Troy and Fletcher. Miami County dispatchers say the majority of the damage was confirmed to the central area of Troy. A Troy police officer told CBS affiliate WHIO that roofs were blown off in the storm. Thankfully, officials say there have been no reported injuries so far. And officials with Wolfe County Search and Rescue say an 11-year-old boy called 911 Sunday. The boy said he was stranded on the ledge of a cliff, and officials say the boy had wandered ahead of his family on a trail when he slipped and landed on a cliff ledge. That ledge prevented him from falling 100 feet or more, and thankfully crews were able to use a ladder to get the boy to safety. Well, thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, one mom in New Jersey got a pretty nasty surprise after ordering diapers for her 2 toddlers on Amazon.
A little cooler compared to what it has been today, but conditions will stay dry. That won't last long. I'll have the full forecast in about 3 minutes.